Okay, I'm going to do a quick video on how to do a magic ring start or a magic loop start. I'm not sure what else it's called. That's the only way I know of it. It's used a lot in amigurumi crocheting so that you don't have a large hole at the start of your work like you would do if you were doing a chain 2 or a chain 3 and then going into the hole in the middle. It closes up your work nicely, and again, like I said, used a lot in amigurumi. I've used it for flower patterns, I've used it in beanies even, so there's not such a noticeable hole in the top of a beanie. It's a little tricky to get a hang of, but once you've done it a couple of times, you should be fine. Just practice makes perfect. Now, you want to take your hand, your left hand if you're right-handed, your right hand if you're left-handed. I'm sorry if you're left-handed, just do the opposite to what I'm doing. So you take your yarn with the long end on the left hand side, short end on your right hand side. Take your hand, put this over the front of your little finger and wrap it around so it comes back to the front. So you've done a full circle with your finger. You go up to the top of your hand, across your finger that you would usually hold the yarn with. It's just the opposite way around. Now you go across the back of your middle finger and wrap it around twice, still with a short end, never with a long end because it won't work. Now I usually pinch the little tail between my two fingers down here, my ring finger and my little finger, and then you can adjust the top part to make it tight for you. Now I'll do that one more time just so everybody else can have a follow along. So you take the short end in your right hand, look at your hand, put it over your little finger from front to back and wrap it around completely so it comes back to the front again. You go up through your hand in the middle, up the front of your hand, I mean, not the front. I'm trying to explain this and it's hard. Up through the palm of your hand, not across the back. If you're working across the back of your hand, you're doing it the wrong way. You need to be looking at the palm of your hand. So you go up across the palm on the inside of your hand, up across the top finger, your index finger, and wrap it around to the back of your middle finger. Then you wrap it around from the back to the front, so you have 2 loops. Pinch these ones at the bottom, you tail through these 2 at the bottom, and then you've got this weird configuration on your hand. Now you take your crochet hook, put it under these 2 loops. You can use your thumb to kind of push them over. Now, you see how you've got 2 strings here? You've got this back one and you've got this front one. You don't want to touch the front one. The front one's where your length is coming from your skein or your ball. So you want to do it through the back one here. You pull through and just do a slip stitch to secure it. Now I don't count that as my first stitch. Most people would go through and do their first single crochet or whatever stitch it is they're trying to do into the magic loop. I like to secure it first because it makes it a lot easier later on. So then if you've got a pattern that says, for example, 6 single crochet into a magic loop start, you don't count that one. You don't count your securing slip stitch. Well, I don't. So then you would go into the loop again under your 2 loops on your finger, pull through and do your single crochet. Now I'm going to come in again and do another one because I want 6 in my pattern, and see how I'm grabbing it from the back. I'll go in again and show you. Now you go around the back and grab it from the back and pull through. You never touch this one that goes across the inside of your hand. Always use the back one. And if you need more yarn, just pull it and lengthen your finger, it'll come up. Pull it through, so that was 1, 2, 3. Go in again, back. Again, you use the back. Pull through. It's 4. 5. And 6. Now, you just see me moving my hand and pulling it and things. That's because I'm trying to lengthen it to get more yarn through, because it will move quite freely through your little finger and this top part here. Despite what it might look like, it does go quite easily. Now, once you've done your stitches into your magic loop start, you can take this off your fingers. So you take this one off first and then just unravel the rest. Now here comes the hard part. What you want to do is tighten this up now, so that it doesn't leave a big massive hole in the centre. Camera's having a spaz, give it a second. Now you've got this little end here. You got to keep an eye on that. Grab one of your loops. I usually try to go for the back one first, because it's usually the one that you need. If you pull on one side, either top or bottom, okay, that one's bringing up this part. So I don't want that, because I want this one here to tighten first. So I'll pull on the opposite side, pull it from this bottom part through, and it's tightening that middle. See how it's tightening the little loop, the second one? And we make it nice and tight, like that. And then we grab this one and we pull it down to tighten that too, like a slip knot. And then you're left with a very tiny hole in the middle there. You can even tighten it more than that if you need to. And then you start going through and doing the rest of your rows. So if you've done the slip stitch at the beginning, you don't count that stitch. I always count back. So if you've been told to do 6 stitches to begin with, you count back 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's the stitch you start in. Don't just go back to the first one on your round and assume that's the correct one for this first round. It does make a very, very, very tight circle to begin with, so you do have to kind of play with it to get your hook in. It doesn't help that I'm using very stringy yarn. It makes a very tight start, so you don't have that massive hole. So once you get it in, you're usually fine. Here you go, 1. Most amigurumi will start with 6 to begin with and then increase in every stitch around. So that's 2, 4 I've done. Six, 8, 10, and 12. So if you look in here, we don't have a very large hole at all. Don't think I could even get my crochet hook through there, to be honest. No. It's a 4mm crochet hook, or 4.5mm, and I can't even get it through the center of my hole. From the back, can't even get it through. So it is a very tiny hole. Stuffing's not really going to pop out of that very easily. And like I said, depending how tight you do your magic ring in the beginning, how much you tighten it up depends on how the size of the hole. I didn't really want to tighten mine too much because it does make it quite difficult to get your hook into the stitches as I showed you to begin with. Once you've got them in, you're fine. You just continue doing your rounds as you normally would. If you're using a smaller hook, you can tighten it up a heap more, or one of those ones with the tapered ends are a lot easier to get in. I think I have one of them here. There's one. I find those ones are a lot easier to get into the stitches compared to those ones. They're just a slightly different shape and they're more rounded. I mean, obviously they're different size hooks as well, but they're different ends on them. So I hope that's helped you learn how to do a magic ring, or magic circle, magic loop start. Have a happy and creative day. Bye.